Okay, we have a nearly empty workshop. We've temporarily moved the Figaro out. The lift has lifted itself. Got a little bit of cleaning to do where the Figaro has left her marks. And I might give the lift itself a clean, but I brushed it all down. Going to give the floor one last clean, and then it's time to paint. Oh yes, and I need to move that as well. Right, it is the morning after the day before, and you can see some of it still looks a little bit tacky, and it is. So all this bit I did at the very end has gone nice and matte grey, but this bit has stayed a little bit tacky. In fact, you can see my footprint over there where I walked over it. So I think when I mixed it, for whatever reason, the resin settled to the bottom of the pot slightly, which is slightly annoying. So that will set eventually, but I'm going to coat over the top with a fresh layer anyway. So my plan is to mix another batch, mix it a bit better this time. And then I'm going to go around, do all the door shuts and the edges around all the lifts first, because I didn't quite get into the edge, as you can see down here, when I was doing around the lift, like I have down on this side, to get nice and neatly into the edges. Get all of that looking nice and consistent. I'm also going to have to put an excess down here because, as you can see, one, it's still a little bit shiny. So there's an ever so slight amount of tackiness still in this. But actually, it's quite a pot-holed bit of concrete. Obviously, it didn't set quite as well. You see, it looks like the surface of the bloody moon. So a little bit of extra paint there to try and fill some of those and cover that in. So a nice thick layer. I may well end up doing a third coat on this front section, but you can see the first coat was a bit thin, so under the doors there it's just looking a bit of a different colour. You still see the concrete through the grey, so it was very, very thin on that first bit for whatever reason. So I get the doors open, give that a really thick coat of paint. It also looks like I haven't painted here between like the outer edge of concrete. I have, but there's a bit of a there's like a soft material in here, slightly spongy material, which is it's for expansion gap, and that is just absorbing paint. So I might have to go over that now with a little bit of concrete filler. It's like cement filler I've got for the floor, or just leave it as it is. I have done it in a few areas over there where it was really bad, and I think with the second coat you won't notice it quite so much. But yeah, lessons learned on that. I don't quite know how I'd do that differently. I'd probably covered over the whole thing. Yeah, not quite sure about that, but plenty of work to do. It doesn't look as nice and consistent as the first time round, annoyingly. Okay, I am back in the garage. We have now done the final coat of paint. And yes, that is a wet and dry vac because, well, we just had the most almighty rainstorm, and while the roof is good, the gutters can't cope with the amount of water coming off, and it came pouring in under the doors. But no harm, the paint was already dry by this point, so I just needed to get the water off the floor. The next thing I need to do is to recommission the little scissor lift. So this little bad boy we moved from the old workshop, and I've had for years, is a great piece of kit. And it was on a great big trolley, which I'll stick in a picture of what that trolley looks like, where you've got the tank and the control box sitting above, but it took up a load of space, and we are a bit limited on space down the side here. And I want to maximise the amount of space I can get in the workshop because, well, effectively, the toolbox there is about where the edge of the lift comes down. I want to build a partition wall along here so that we can keep this side clean, because this side will inevitably get dirty. I mean, you can see the state of the lift. That's after it's been cleaned. So, to maximise space, I've decided I want to put this on the wall, but mounting that to the wall isn't quite so easy, so I have made a plate. This ridiculously over-engineered thing is basically a wooden plate that I can screw to the wall, and that those parts of the lift will then mount to with their mounting bolts hidden behind here in those recesses I showed you a second ago. So all I've got to do, after spending 3 or 4 hours doing this, which was not really a great use of time, but it felt like I wanted to do it, to get that up on the wall. So it's all assembled on its back plate. Just going to drill some new holes. I wasn't very far out with where the holes needed to be. That's only, yeah. I hadn't accounted for the fact that the bottle that holds all the fluid hangs off the bottom of the pump quite so much, because on the bracket I've shown you earlier, this actually sits at a funny angle, so it hangs over the top of here, which is why it didn't actually use up as much space as this actually does. So I originally drilled the holes here and the bottle hits the floor. So this is about the minimum height we can have it, and it just fits under the electrical cabling here. So we've inadvertently got about 1 inch to spare. So yeah, time to drill some new holes. Just ignore those. Right, so it is on the wall, it is plugged in, it's all functional. I'm going to tidy the wiring up a little bit and the hoses up. But you can kind of see what the issue was here. So you see how this is the original bracket. It used to hold the box way out here, and then the little fluid tank used to sit in front of that. So we've only saved a couple of inches, but you know, in my world, every inch matters. So never a dull moment at HQ 2.0. You might notice there's this very pretty little Alfa Romeo Brera perched on the driveway. So we had some friends over last night, so they left the car and took a taxi home. But you know, there are worse things to be stuck on the driveway next to the currently immovable Clio, which is causing us all world of problems. And you may notice there's a car trailer here, and that's because there is a vehicle in here. It was moved in here yesterday from its home in the long barn, which ironically it was too big to get out of. We had to disassemble it to get it out of the barn. And this is going off to its new home. The current owner has been storing it here. It's now built a garage for it to go to. So, speaking of the devil, here's Owen and his little Morris. So let's go have a quick look at that, because that is something very different. So we have a little Morris Oxford here. So Owen, would you like to tell us just 2 minutes about this car?
Yeah, sure. So we actually bought this down in Kent a couple of years ago. It was quite cheap at the time, thankfully. Lovely little eBay find, but it was all a complete kit of parts. So for the last few years, we've assembled it in the long barn here, and sad, you know, knowingly that the door was not wide enough to get the car out. So me and my friend yesterday managed to take it apart down to the kind of major sub-assemblies, reassemble it in the barn here, and then we'll be taking it off back to our house to reunite it with this engine and hopefully get it going. So
very good. What year is this one then?
This one is 1927. So this is the previous year was the last year when Morris offered a bullnose variant, which is kind of like a rounded front radiator. So this is the first of all of the kind of modern flat noses that kind of led on to the early Morris Minors in the 30s and things like that.
There you go. Very good. Right, I best leave you in peace to get it on the trailer, right? Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.
Cheers, mate. Thanks, mate.
Bye.